Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I am Miss Day. So, as some of you know already, I've had no voice for days. So, this is going to sound a little strange, but it shouldn't affect the message because I'm actually feeling quite pleasant. Okay. So it's weird because the first thing I heard, I actually felt like it was from your guides. So whoever you are, I do think you've been asking for guidance and advice. And it's weird because I feel like I got this wave today when I got to reconnect with you people. And whoever's going to see this video, like whenever you see this, this is for you. Let yourself receive it, no matter when. Because it was almost like it feels like someone is experiencing everyone else sort of hitting the jackpot in certain areas, or just smoothly carrying on, and things are like positive for them. And I think things are still kind of knocking at you or like getting in your way. So it's strange because I think whoever this reading is for, one of the first things that I felt was that I heard the song from Shania Twain. It's "If You're Not In It For Love, I'm Out of Here." And I literally thought immediately that that was from your guides. And sorry. And that may sound really unpleasant. But the thing is, if your guides are saying that to you, I feel like you're asking to level up. Like whoever you are, I feel like you're not just asking for help me. I think you're willing to fight. I think you're willing to stand on your own. And I think you need to be challenged to be fulfilled. Because this feels almost like, it's weird. It made me think of before, this is weird. Before my dad died, I was less than kind to him because I was angry at him, justifiably so. And we're cool. But like way back, we were not cool. And the reason we were not cool is because he hurt me and I couldn't allow myself to be around him because it wasn't good for my human. It wasn't good for my health. I didn't know what I was going to do with that. And then he died. So the reason I'm saying that right now, like the reason I immediately thought about it is because before I really figured out that it wasn't silly to have dreams of doing ththings and leaving a mark. Like when I was a little child, like we all have these fantasies, like I'm gonna be a rock star, I'm gonna be who says rock star? But like I'm gonna be, a musician or something like that, like whatever it is that, is your passion. It's not silly. And I feel like it's weird because the reason I said that about my dad is because I went through this like period of years phase where I was refusing to mature. I didn't know that then. I know it now. But it's like I was refusing to grow on my own and evolve my ways because it's almost like I had that still, it was like I had a chip on my shoulder and it was like this subconscious plea for my dad to come and fix it. And I know that sounds really weird, but that's what this feels like. Like I feel like, and I mean this in a very uplifting way, so don't let this pull you down, because it feels kind of like, okay, be accountable for what it is you are asking for, because I think you're getting it, and I think you're not realizing that it's actually supposed to feel good when everything is on your plate. So that's where we're headed. That's what your goal is to find that place where like you feel good about doing the good things for yourself, and that's going to affect every single thing in your life. So first of all, I know I'm talking to people who want to open up, people who want to clearly receive and give messages, and receive for your own growth so that you can do things outside of yourself too. This is not selfish. And it's interesting because you're so accountable and willing to be accountable that it's like, that's why they're kind of giving you a full answer that is heavy if you take it personally, like I just keep kind of feeling like it's not personal, it's business. And it feels like whoever you are, whoever this reading is for, there's sort of this immature, like that thing I mentioned with my dad where I was like in this please state of like, well, you did this. Well, this happened to me. You know, that type of mood that can just bleed into everything that you do. And whoever this reading is for, this is your needs physically. So I think that you need to stop giving yourself excuses for not giving yourself the best you've got. That's the other line in that Shania Twain song. If you're not willing to give it all you've got, they're like saying you're asking for help, and the help is you stand stronger because you're already special. There's not going to be like another bell and whistle type of moment that makes you think, now I can do more. They're saying you're the one who thinks you're not ready for your next step. And it's such a solid, yes, you are. Yes, you are. You have healed enough. You have bled enough. And it's so crazy because it's like you've done it. You've done the work, and yet you're experiencing other people with kind of little wins. And I feel like it almost feels like rude to you just from the universe. I think that you're exhausted with not knowing what to do, what your next step is. With not knowing what the hell to do. And it's like you're so accountable, you're so willing to be fair. And I feel like there's also, I thought about so we've been sick, me and my kids. And one of the things that like I had to make my 8-year-old allow herself to do, because like when we're sick, if your nose is all stuffy and your throat hurts, like you don't want to cry because it just, it can make it worse. But it's like sometimes, I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but very frequently for me, I will have an overwhelming sensation to cry when I'm physically so sick and so exhausted from being sick and the symptoms. Like I'm just sick of it, and it's like my body has to just cry for a second because those emotions are building. Even if you have a good attitude and a forward motion with your own strength, because you do. You have this accountable willpower, and that's what keeps you walking forward. Badass. So, all that's left now is for you to fill yourself up. I feel like you have done the work to be allowed to fill yourself all the way up. And so the sick thing, it's just like when we are, it's just like when we're not sick. If you ignore your emotions, then it's not going to be healthy for your systems. This is something cool I've heard a doctor say recently, which is basically like the height of your healthiest self is not, I'm fit, I don't get sick ever, or like I have good skin. Really, the answer is you function well as a full operating system with all of these different operating systems. So like your highest level of functioning should be your goal if you're trying to reach a next step, no matter where you are and no matter what's happening. Because like think about like what I said with being sick, where it's like here's this time that we're willing to walk through and we're going forward, good attitude, okay. But the physical experiences suck. So it's like emotions exist with those unless you're just oblivious and feel nothing in your physical body, which just doesn't happen. For fun, I mean. So the thing that this is like making me think is whoever you are, don't forget to let these emotions be your focus daily, regularly, because I think you think, well, I fought the war, I've healed, so I shouldn't be letting myself be so emotional. And I feel like you're not overly emotional, but maybe in avoiding your emotions, you are building up more of those negative emotions again, and you cleared out that area. You cleared the clouds and the fog. It feels like depression. I feel like you came out of depression. And it feels like going forward, they want you to know that it's fair and right in your next phase of life that now, even if you're not used to doing it, it's only right if you are going to give it all you've got. And if you give you all you've got, then you're in it for the right reasons. Because if you give you all you know that thing they say on the airplanes, like to put the oxygen mask on yourself first if you have kids, because then you'll have your wits about you to make sure that they're getting oxygen as well. And you'll know what to do, whatever, you die. But like, sorry. I like cows. So, in going forward into your next step, I feel like you're going to actually be more of yourself, like you were in your childhood spirit, than you believe possible. And it's funny, it's not funny, but it's interesting because we're so contradicting as people that like we can go through these experiences and think, we got out of them, phew, at least that's over. And then we go right into the same cycles. And that's kind of nuts too, because there's this feeling here of needing someone. And if this is a past loved one, there's nothing about that that's nuts. We do need them when they're gone. That doesn't just, it doesn't just disappear. The connection is eternal. So, but for someone in here, whoever this reading is for, it feels like you're going to, okay, so I was thinking about this before we started. There's a weird thing about dependency in relationships where oftentimes when you don't get satisfied for like a long period of time in one relationship or multiple relationships, you can actually get used to and adapt to your own vehicle adapts to seeking your needs being fulfilled instead of becoming stronger in fulfilling yourself, because identifying your needs and like establishing those needs is a part of your ever evolving identity. Needs change if you're a growing person. So it's only natural that reaching out and wanting something to be fulfilled by another person, it can feel like a never-ending road, because it is one. And I feel like that's crazy because before I started, I was thinking about the basic meditation that I first learned a long time ago. And I was like talking to a teenage child, my first client. And I was teaching her to accept her own emotions. And whoever this reading is for, it's that. This isn't only about accepting your emotions. This is about accepting your new experience. So if you're used to avoiding obstacles, oftentimes what we do is we try to escape our body. That's something my daughter was doing this last week when we were sick. She's like the happiest human alive. Her light being missing is so sad. And she was reaching with a good attitude for so many days. And then like by day 5 or 6, she was just like exhausted and needed to cry it out. And it's like she forgot to keep reaching with a positive attitude until she cried it out. She had to clear out the sadness and then be like, okay, I'm ready to keep going here. I am going to reach the light at the end of this tunnel. And the reason it like ties in is because what my daughter does is what whoever this reading is for, what we all do when we don't want to be in the experience that our human is experiencing. The back of your mind is aware, but it's got to be pulled with your own willpower to the forefront of your mind in order to do something with it once it's in there already. So like once an emotion exists, you can be aware of it and be like, I don't have to deal with that because I can't avoid it, can't change it anyway. But sometimes it makes me think of that line where avoiding obstacles can actually create more. It even makes me think of that thing that Einstein said, which is one of my favorite things, which is make everything as simple as possible, but no simpler. And that's where, when this comes into like physical needs, like if you really want to grow, if you really want to go into this next step, you have to stand on stronger legs. And I need to you need to know this too. As far as frequency and energy goes, I just want to show you how I visualize this dependency thing I'm seeing here. It's like if you reach for another human, humans naturally emit a low frequency. That's something we do just because we're alive. If they're alive and you're reaching for them, there's a low frequency potential. But if you reach up to the high frequency from your body, it's like you're starting at the bottom. Every time you reach up, it gives you like another shot, like another thought, another way to act today, another way to carry out this new emotional experience. So it's like this time, this phase of your life, make taking care of yourself feel like it's you. Make it your identity because you've earned that. You've earned the right to be like, I'm a healthy person. I'm extremely careful of my needs being met so that I get to function to my best ability and live my best life. Because the thing is, it's like somebody is not experiencing. Also, oftentimes you gotta move. If your emotions kind of weigh you down, there's this huge benefit in taking the breath control and using it to grab hold of your consciousness and pull it back in. So when you feel the need, when you recognize it's harder and harder for you to have a positive outlook, I feel like whoever this reading is for, what it is that you're lacking is remembering to reach up all the time. It needs to be a part of your new identity. You reach up. That's what you do now, because you are not willing to settle. And they're like, if you want to keep going up, you've got to reach. It has to be that way because they can't pick you up. If they had a human vehicle to pick you up, they would not be the highest frequency all the time. You have the human vehicle. You have a choice. So when you're experiencing things and you're aware of the fact that you've been going through maybe 4 or 5 days of your week and you're like, this was a really stressful week, I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to zone out, or I'm going to watch a movie, or I'm going to drink a glass of wine and just like kind of ignore what happened to me. It's like that is getting in the way of you having a better week next week, even if the same bad things happen, because your functioning can always improve. And that's what this is. It's like they're saying you are accountable enough to have what you want now. Accountability is a huge, powerful source. It's a huge power, because when you're willing to be accountable, you're willing to ask any questions that you need to ask. And when you're not willing to be accountable, like people that don't want to be accountable, they don't want to ask questions. They're not going to be like, why am I wrong? But you are. You're like, why do I feel this way? Why do I still have this outlook? You want the answers. And you are ready to receive them on your own. So like that's what this feels like. It feels like your outlook is an inner thing. You are looking at your own physical needs and being like, well, those are able to be blown off still. You've done so much emotional work that you need to step it up and take yourself into that next level, because that's you coming back fully. That is you filling yourself up with you. That's another thing that I was thinking about earlier, which I'm thrilled I get to say because it's like one of my It's one of the reasons I don't do readings on relationships, and I don't say, well, this is going to happen or this is what it looks like, because each relationship is a choice on both ends, on all ends. No matter how many people are involved in certain ties, it's always an evolving or digressing or stagnant thing, because everyone's got the power of decision. So this reading feels so much like you've cleared out the foundation, and now it's time to let yourself fill up the rest. Fill up the rest of your cup. Because that childhood self that was capable of being excited. Some of you were so excitable and got knocked down in your excited, uplifting moments in life. Like, I feel like something always got in the way. Something always happened. And eventually, because you are not a victim, you eventually just started being like, okay, well, how can we get through this? Things happen to everybody. Obviously, things happen to everybody. And then I think even there was a period of time that you may have recently come out of that had a chip on your shoulder type of feeling vibe. Because we go in and out. Things happen in life. It's unavoidable to like be your child self sometimes, because that's really just how we learned to react. And that doesn't mean the exact behaviors. It means like, how do you respond to good things coming into your life? Because if all you've been doing is noticing that they're not coming into your life, then it's like you're not even seeing the growth that you have taken yourself through. And that's what that song made me think of, like that, if you're not in it for love, I'm out of here. It's because if you can't give yourself, so if you've ever been, like, I feel like when love is taken for granted in a relationship, like if you start to, you know how people say, well, I don't want to get in a relationship with someone because then things can go wrong. It's just better off if we stay friends, because then everything stays, not confusing. This is what I feel like you need to view your relationship with your own self as, where it's like, you say you say you're willing to go the extra mile. You say you want to grow. You think that I feel like you think you love yourself enough. And I feel like you need enough. You need enough. So you need to fill yourself up and stop taking for granted what you are underneath. The display out here is not always going to happen when you're growing in here. And this is a super huge accountability thing. Like, whoever you are really strongly, you have tried to become a more accountable person. Like, accountable for your feelings, your actions, your reactions, and what you do with them in your life. Because I think you've seen some negative outcomes, and you've taken those as lessons, which is literally all you can do. So I feel like they're very positive for you. The other thing is the dependency thing. So what I keep feeling is, one of the things that, like I've said, it may sound kind of harsh, but like a lot of times if you see like relationships online, or if you see all of these shorts where people are like, oh, baby wanted to change without me seeing, or they're leaving without me coming with them, and things like that. Sometimes, like, I get it, it's cute, it's fun, whatever. I'm not judging, I don't care, I don't want to talk about it. But my point is, sometimes, like, you're not supposed to be 0.5 of 1.0. You need to be 1.0 so that you can draw 1.0 to you. And that's like, if you don't have the people that really understand the growth processes you've been going through, then maybe you haven't decided who the people are that you want around you yet. Because maybe you're not sure how good it can feel because you haven't felt the good in here yet. And you've earned it, you fought for it. So it's like, I was thinking before the reading too, if someone feels like you're reaching really, really far back, this is not everybody, but someone's reaching far back to like past connections, and I feel like you're like, I need them. And though I understand the feeling, and though we need those we love, because it's an interaction, Not receiving their love is a wound. And it can feel like a gaping hole when you don't receive it. But that gaping hole is what we're talking about here. This whole reading. They're like, you can fill up the rest of that hole. You have to. The light that you're missing is you. The beauty out here that you're missing is because you're not seeing it in here yet. You deserve to you commit to your needs. Whatever it is you're doing that you know you shouldn't be, or that you know that you're just excusing it, and you have been for years. Health stuff. You've got to fight. Give it everything you've got. Just like that song. If you're not willing to give it everything you've got, if you're not in it for love, I'm out of here. They're not saying that in a judgmental way. They're like, if you want us, be a home for us. Be a home that we can come into, that we can stay in. Because that's you. You are that higher frequency. It's like your head doesn't believe it yet. And this is what you deserve to believe. Like, you need this lifted up feeling, this lighter feeling. And that's the thing. When you're reaching for other people because you're feeling down, and you're reaching for another human to give you that uplifting feeling, reaching for another human it's a low frequency sort of pull. So if you reach up, there's no doubt, because then you're actually using your human vehicle to open your channel for the high frequency to come in. But you have to believe that you contain it. You have to believe you are it. It's quite beautiful. Like, you're a badass, and I feel like you're a secret badass. Like, I feel like you don't even... I think that's why it feels like your life isn't... I feel like circumstances in your life have been very unfair. But I think you're a fair person, and I think you're very bright. And I think you're ready to come back. And coming back isn't going to come from out here. It's going to grow in here. And you're going to be like, oh, here I am. This is me. That's your goal. So like this constant overlooking and avoiding obstacles by not committing to your everyday physical needs, eating the right things, drinking the right things, sleeping the right way, doing things you know are good for your body, that you could have less pain if you work out, if you take a walk, things like that. Deep breath control. That's what I teach my daughter. That's what I do for myself when I'm losing patience and I'm kind of jumping out of my own vehicle because I don't like it here. Because I'm like, oh, get me out, you know? Deep breath control is how you kind of accept your own energy back into your body. The very first, like just a basic meditation is breathe to accept, and then you can release the negative. You can't release the negative by running away from it. You've got to breathe all the way deep down in, and you are so accountable. Once you start using this vehicle as a tool for your light, it just feels like a gift to do a reading for someone like that. Speaking of that, I made a post about being sick, and you guys like all said so many cool things. Definitely tried the onions and the socks. Daughters thought I was nuts, but it was extremely fun, and that was a pretty cool side effect. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's a coincidence that my voice is back, but it was not here yesterday. Like, I was just squeaking. So, like, I went to wake up my child, and I was like, Ivy. So, anyway, I feel very much like that's another thing, even with being sick. If like some of you are sick now too, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to talk about what I was saying with the comments. But like when my daughter was sick, she wanted to escape her vehicle naturally and fair. But I had to remind her, you have to work with your vehicle. Give your body air. Your body's fighting with you, not against you. So it's like, remember that when you do have emotions that come up and they aren't pleasant, that's functioning right. You did that. You made those functioning systems move again. So this is where it's like, don't take that for granted. see it as the gift that it is. Super awesome. Okay, so those comments that you guys made, everybody, all of you, thank you. It was actually the coolest thing in the whole world, because everybody was like, okay, take a breather, no, rest, we're fine, we've got it. Until then, first of all, you eliminated all pressure for me, and I appreciate that so much, because I'm kind of nuts with pressuring myself, and I'm really trying to control that. But also, it made me, I don't know what happened, but it's like it made me feel physically like I had this energy that made me want so badly to do the readings for you, because I feel like connecting to you is such a beautiful thing. And it ties into this reading, because it's like giving, when you give something of yourself and like people receive it and they don't think it's for weird motives and stuff, like it's fulfilling. So I feel like that's what you have to do for yourself, is exactly what you all did for me. You guys all were like, hey, you need to rest. You better do this. Here's some internet soup. Like, you guys, so do that for yourself. Don't ignore your needs. Practice what you preach, because you deserve it. So, anyway, okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Subscribe if you feel like the readings resonate. Terribly sorry if this was a horrible experience just because of the sound of my voice right now. And I'm definitely gonna post some more in the members only. Either in the next couple of hours if my voice is okay, or tomorrow in the morning. And I haven't gotten to the emails yet, so I'm going to do that after I get this reading up. I just wanted to hurry up and get it up. So have a good rest of your night. All right, bye. No one's here that you can see.